Now, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. I was muted. Here we are, another Friday Night Live Zoom, June 11th, 2021, and away we go. A beautiful day here in the Great Trujillo. Sun is shining, and people are on the move. It's interesting how people work. How submissive everybody is to the rule of Kaka. Anyway, Rana can take.
I'm good, thank you.
Hi, Lisa. How you doing?
Hi. Hi. There was a beautiful sky here today.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I just got a ton of planting done. I just put in about, I think, a dozen plants. So, yeah, I did a ton of work. I'm day 4 of 6, I think, right now with Masterfest. And it's always amazing to see how much work you can do physically.
You're on level 6?
No, I mean, I'm doing 6 days right now.
All right.
And so it's day 4. And then I have some family coming into town. So I'll be entertaining. But we have something interesting on the horizon right now, which is that we are buying some land.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Florida?
Yep, in Florida, 10 acres. And it's beautiful. It's cleared land for the most part. And it's just got a few trees here and there, and it's several plots all together. So it was 50 acres divided into 5 plots. And our friends are buying the plot next to us. And they're going to turn it into a part animal sanctuary, actually. So
Nice.
yeah, we're really excited about it. Kind of all I can't believe it's come together the way it has, really, because it was kind of instinctual to look for this stuff and do this. So yeah, the property came up, and actually property goes so fast here. It's usually only on the market for up to 5 days, if that.
Yeah, it's going crazy. A lot of places up here. It's insane.
Yeah.
People are overbidding $100,000-$200,000 more than asking price.
Really? Where you are too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's gone crazy.
Wow. Yeah, here, well, I kind of live in a bit of a city, but it was such a beautiful drive to go out to this area today because it's rural and it's zoned for agriculture. And there's lots of orange groves, watermelon fields, and there's Amish people.
Is there any trees around the property on the outskirts of it?
Yeah, on the far side. So on the perimeter of so my property has 2 sort of residential cattle farms. So there's cows that are grazing on large residential properties. And then there is some old growth forest left on the perimeter of all of these 10-acre plots. And so it's kind of, it does have a neat feel. There was a huge hawk flying around me today. It was used as a hayfield, and so most of it's been cleared, and some of it's wetlands, and it does, from what I hear, it will tend to get very wet. So you have to plan accordingly with drainage.
Mm,
Yeah, so I was just talking to somebody today about irrigation and retention ponds and setting up how to, because we'll have to make our own roads, and so there's equipment that we'll need to have put on a tractor and then go around and sort of make ditches on the sides of the roads and stuff like that.
mhm.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty wild to think that we'll be living on a piece of property where you can have your own roads.
There's no house on it?
No, so that's the catch, is that there's no house, there's no water, there's no electric, there's nothing.
How far from the ocean?
Just an hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's an hour. It's a nice drive too, because you drive through a lot of green.
Hurricane area, tornado area?
Well, everything here in Florida is pretty hurricaney.
There's, have you ever heard of the monolithic domes?
No.
They're houses built like a dome,
Uh-huh.
and they could withstand like 300-400 mile an hour winds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Well,
you may want to look into that. And they're
yeah.
you can build them very cheaply if you what's that thing called again? Air concrete or something they call it. And it's you build it's a way to make blocks out of concrete, but it's a lot of air, in it, and they're very light to work with, easy to cut, and so on and so forth. And you build, and it's very, very strong.
Wow.
It has insulating factors and everything. It's, if you want to look that up, and you can build a monolithic dome with it.
And so what was the name of the brick called?
It's either called aircrete or
okay,
or concrete with, I can't remember, it might be called aircrete.
Yeah.
Concrete, aircrete. I think it's been a while since I looked into it. It's not that difficult. I had a friend who was experimenting with it a few years ago. And he says it was pretty easy to do, and like I said, once you make like a mold to make the blocks, however big you want to make them, and then it's easy to cut. You can cut it with regular saws and stuff, so you can build anything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
yeah, I'll look into it. Yeah, we're looking into all options.
no, the reason I thought about that, because the hurricane, if you get hit, you want to get something that's gonna hold up. And monolithic dome, the 300-400 mile an hour winds.
Yeah.
No problem. If it's built right, no problem.
Yeah. Yes, there's always something somewhere. In Georgia, we had tornadoes, and and then actually here, even because of all the weather engineering, there's been tornadoes here where I am, even though there's not supposed to be. So so.
You guys are planning on moving there? Are you building a house?
Yeah, we're planning to move there for sure. And transition. We would like to be there. We don't really have any more ties to this place. We kind of like it, but we just feel the need to get into the countryside, and but we'll have to stay here probably up to a year in our house before we could sell it. You never know with what's happening, what could change that. And we're looking into our options as far as putting an RV on the property. Just and then we want to get the utilities up and running first, because we want to put some trees in to create a windbreak, because it is an open field. If we can create the windbreak, we can better plant and grow the other fruit trees that we want to put in.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of coordination I never pictured having to figure out.
Yeah,
But
the shipping containers,
mhm.
people are converting those to homes, right?
Yeah, we so we're looking into that. Not as much for a home, but to get it on site for storage,
Yeah.
so we could start loading stuff into the property. And what we are hearing, just it's echoed everywhere else, is that materials are not available. Prices of other materials that are available are through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
6 times the price now, the guy said, for piping that he needs for irrigation. So
Yeah, everything's gone crazy.
yeah, and I'm not as optimistic that people, with people saying, oh, things will get back to normal. And I don't really see that. So we're trying to, I would say, even within the next 6 months, acquire a lot of the stuff that we need and get it into a container on the property or so.
Yeah. Good idea.
I'm sorry.
Good idea.
Thanks. Yeah. Unprecedented times. So, but uh I did something interesting. I was asked if I would donate a good or a service to a silent auction for at a fundraiser. And so I donated a tour of my permaculture yard. And somebody bought it for $100.
Hmm.
So they haven't done it yet. They haven't come by yet. I'm still waiting for the call, but it's interesting, because I think what I'm going to do is turn my property into something that'll help me financially in the meantime,
Mm-hmm.
where I can give tours to people and teach them from it, because it's looking pretty good. It's alive. Oh, yeah, I really should take a picture of this, but I've got 2 racks of bananas, my first 2.
Wow.
Oh. Yeah, it's really neat. It's
Good
sort
job,
of like,
Liz.
thank you. It's sort of like the quintessential moment, that you want something tropical happening, and you see the beautiful banana trees growing, and now they've both fruited. So we're waiting now and watching them. They're so beautiful, and each banana has a little flower at the end of it, and the bees come and go in the flower.
Mm.
So
You're being the change.
yeah. Yeah, it's just, I think I've been trying to put my energy into the most intentional, positive ways I can put it towards. Because I see so many other people spiraling into current events instead of I see so many other people spiraling into current events, and instead of I see so many other people spiraling.
Oh, sorry.
Is that what that is? Okay. But yeah, there's a lot of I have some friends around me who are so intent on cycling through the same information that we really understand already, as far as lies around us, let's say. but they just keep sending me this, more videos. This doctor said this doctor said that, this is happening here. And if that same person took all that energy and put it into buying some land, growing some fruit, putting in a garden bed, teaching somebody else how to garden, fasting, praying. It's like, it's such a world of difference if you just do that. Yes, you learn, about what's going on for, for a certain amount of time, but move on. So,
Awesome. So yeah, lots you can do. Just use nature as your guide in the universe, and you'll do whatever you want to do there.
yeah. Every day I learn something new with it all. The more time you spend outside in nature, looking at all the things, you realize every day more and more just how disconnected we had all become.
Oh yeah.
Everything, our sense of touch, our sense of sight, our sense of smell, our palate, our breath. And I even had an interesting experience where we went through a drought here, and or the dry season, and so it was about 6 weeks with no rain. So, and it was getting really hot. So every single day I'd have to water, and I'd have to water each plant because I don't have a sprinkler system yet. And I'd water each plant, and it would take me an hour and a half every day. And then it finally rained, and it rained for a few days in a row. So I didn't have to go out and water. And what I found was that I was more disconnected from my plants. And I didn't know who was growing. I didn't see the butterflies. I didn't see the bees, the moths, the other nameless bugs that are out there too. And it was interesting because it made me really appreciate how meaningful that morning experience is for myself to water each plant.
Yeah, I have the same feeling, Lisa.
Oh yeah?
I was looking into like irrigation systems or stuff like that, but never put it in. And I'm really enjoying just watering it and seeing how each thing is developing every day because it's changing so fast. I swear they're growing by the hour.
Yeah. So what part of, I don't even know what country you're in. So
Yeah,
what
I'm
area?
not too far from Juneau in the Toronto area.
Oh, okay. So it's turning beautiful now, huh? It's really something
Mhm.
now.
Things are really glowing, yeah, blooming.
Yeah.
We had
Well,
some roses open up.
Oh, roses?
Yeah, I'm rose gazing.
And
How
do you
pink.
have
I
how
love
much
it.
how much land do you have?
Oh, we don't have a lot. It's just like our backyard, but
Yeah.
yeah. I was thinking of like some kind of simple watering system. But yeah, I like watering them myself right now.
Yeah. I agree.
And we have tomatoes growing. They're growing, yeah, like I said, by the hour.
Wow.
And yeah,
How
but it's
many
not like
tomato plants?
bananas. I
Yeah.
think it's so cool.
How many tomato plants do you have?
Maybe like 14.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
We like tomatoes.
Yeah. Yeah, I planted too many in my garden bed at the community garden, but it was a good experience because I learned. And we had a lot of birds eating them and squirrels eating them. But I think if I had a lot more, then we would be able to share.
Mhm. Mhm.
I have a lot of basil growing too. Do you have basil also?
Yeah, we have one basil plant. Actually, and then yeah, and a few hopefully will come up from seed that I recently planted. Yeah, so it's so aromatic, like
Yes.
I love it.
Um,
Basil's awesome. When you
yeah.
water your plants, try if you're doing it with a hose, try watering off your hand.
Like when you press the hose. Yeah,
Yeah, water it
yeah,
from your hand. Let the
yeah,
water touch your hand
yeah.
and put your intent.
Comes from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Thanks, Jenny.
Gino, I remember one of your old videos where you went out and think in your backyard eating, I think, fresh basil and tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good. You're
The
like, oh,
flavor.
people are meant to be eating, yeah, standing up and outside like this, like pick a
Yeah.
leaf.
Yeah.
Your videos are classic, Gino.
Yeah, I ate standing up for years.
Yeah.
Never used my table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I generally eat standing up as well. It's so fascinating too. I think I've mentioned this in the past, but you just think about the flavors that you were raised on and that are so common, what one being tomato sauce. It's so you can compare the single tomato taste, right? But then you know what it tastes like to have tomato sauce, and so that's more stimulating even, and more, it's so concentrated. But that's not how nature intended, because if you wanted to, when you do make a sauce, you have to gather this extraordinary amount of tomatoes it's impossible to really grow. When you start growing, you realize that I could never grow that many to make a sauce. Yeah.
Depends how much land you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soon.
But you really appreciate, how much time it takes, and even, like grapes. I watch the grapes
Yeah.
grow. Each single little grape, like it takes so
Yeah.
much time and so much sunlight for it to grow.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yesterday somebody brought me fresh lychees, or lychees, whatever you want to call them.
Oh,
Yes. So, I mean, I pinch myself that I know somebody here who can go around the block, cut the neighbor's branches. The neighbor said it was fine, and bring me fresh lychees.
Nice.
Beautiful pink. It's unbelievable. Such a gift.
awesome.
And yesterday it was really neat. For my homeschool group, somebody had suggested that we do a rainbow table, and it ended up that everybody ended up bringing fruit for this. So you bring a fruit in every color. And we set it all up. We took a picture of it. It was really pretty. And all the kids gathered and all the kids ate fruit. And it was such a joy to see them all eating fruit and, nothing else, not any of the other junk that, they might have brought otherwise. So,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Lisa, do you you run the homeschool group? Like you teach the kids, or is it like a club, or?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I started it back in October, and I had joined a separate group locally, but some of the members were kicked out, and I had felt the intention to really become um, an active member of a group. And so I decided I would take it on as my own project. So I started a group, and I organized 2 themed events a week plus a park day. And so we've just been keeping on since then. And we have a game night now that we do about once or twice a month for teens in my home. Also, we meet at playgrounds and parks, and it's a really simple format to do what I'm doing. And the themes I teach sometimes can come off as classes or can be categorized as that, but they're quite informal. and the kids are allowed to participate in whatever amount that they would like to participate in. And it's been really fun and educational for me too. And so for instance, I'm doing an upcoming event called Super Solar Kids, and I'm going to bring the new solar power supplies that I've acquired to the park, and I'm going to bring a fan and some other things, and the kids are going to be able to plug everything in that they bring and see if it works.
That's awesome.
Thanks. So
Yeah.
and it became really popular, and we used Facebook as a group, as a way to organize it, and it has been good in some ways, but then frustrating in others. So it grew to over 300 people in it, and I decided to make it a paid membership group to encourage participation, because we have the common problem of people who don't show up, kind of thing. So this is a way to make people a little bit more beholden to what they say, if they're going to come or not.
Mhm.
And so yeah, we're starting that off, and I find that it's better to have a smaller group with members who attend than a bigger group who is non-committal and yeah, gets it for free, kind of thing.
Mhm.
But we're charging, just to give an example, if anybody's curious and listening, it's the equivalent of $5 per month per family. So essentially it's a cup of coffee, today's latte, and it's per family. So it's not even that you're coming and you have 3 kids. Oh my gosh, how are you going to afford to come pay $5 a kid? No, it's just $5 per family, yeah. So yeah, so it's a lot of responsibility though, for sure. I spend about 10 to 14 hours a week out at the events, and yeah, coordinate and stuff. But it's really it's been very rewarding. And again, I always appreciate when I'm learning in life, and I definitely have learned a lot from it.
I can imagine being the change.
Elaine, hi guys. I've been putting ground up comfrey root and honey on my shoulder. Keeps getting worse. Trying to just be relaxed about it. Well, if that's what you believe, Elaine, that's the route you're gonna go. Patience, persistent consistency. Know where you're going and let the soul do its work. I had 2 bad shoulders from 2 different motorcycle crashes. I couldn't stand up for long periods of time because my shoulders would be killing just from the weight of my arms. It took me a while, but I solved my shoulders. I completely got all my movement back. It took me it took me a few years because they were one was a really high speed crash, but they were pretty bad injuries. I could barely lift my shoulders. So you just got to keep working with them. Fasting is going to accelerate healing always. And there's look in the Louise Hay for emotions and different parts of the body and ailments and so on and so forth, and see if you can resonate with anything like that. Just keep doing it, keep working with it. Trust if you're fasting state, trust when you're eating. We know that story. So when you're in a fasting state, for novices, they believe that things are getting worse because they don't have the understanding of what's going on, and all weaknesses come to the surface when we're in a fasting state. So we just keep working with it. Keep doing movements, like, get energy into it, keep massaging it with the burn stick and so on and so forth. We should be able to solve it within a few weeks or so, maybe longer, depends what's going on in there. If there's any old injuries, the older injuries take longer. If it's a new injury, usually be able to handle it depending how much damage is in there, how much obstructions. But I wouldn't worry about it. Just keep working with it. Nathan, hi. That's beautiful, Lisa. Leading by example is the best way to live. People ask me how to help make a change in the world, and I am of the opinion of work on yourself first and setting an example for others to follow. Thank you, Gene. For example, you have been set for others if they choose to do so. Gino speaks from experience and truth and motion. Yeah, we do the best we can, and we share experiences of all the wonderful experiences that we have, gone through, and just keep adding on that. Being self-sustained today is probably more important than ever with everything going on. Nobody really knows what's around the corner, but there's a lot of signals of what may be coming around the corner, not too far. With the prices skyrocketing and so on and so forth, and it's just everything's going crazy. It's going to be, they're just printing money, so this is the challenge. It's money built on thin air. Money, debt currency, fiat currency built on debt, and it's got to be paid back at a future date. So that's the problem with the system we have. There's nothing backing it except future labor. Elaine, yeah, I used to have shoulder problems. Thank you. Okay, there you go. So stay with it. Weaknesses will come to the surface. Couple of years into this, 2-3 years, you're just getting going. It's just starting up.
Yeah. I've been dealing with a lot of dizziness lately.
Awesome.
Yeah. More washing, right?
Less of everything. Yeah, more purging.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I feel good with even as long as I'm always learning, and I am learning that my meditation practice is vital for me twice a day, morning and night. I had taken I got kind of lost for a couple of weeks when I started eating again, and I lost some of the spiritual connections that I was working on, and then I dropped my meditation, and it really shows, and I suffered for it, and I have learned a lot from that. So it's really amazing to me just how much we use to numb ourselves and to distract ourselves from our discomfort of being unnatural. And the distractions come in the form of food, drugs, alcohol, entertainment of sorts too. And when you start when you're taking that away, it can be really depending on your level of calm or your state of being or your circumstances, it can be really hard. And I notice when I want to go eat, sometimes it's triggered by physical pain too. I've got some major teeth stuff going on, and I thought, oh, I want to go eat. And I thought, well, why did I just have that thought? Why did I want to just put something in my mouth to soothe myself? And it was because of that tooth. That tooth is talking to me, and I'd rather, and in the past I have, I would have something to eat and I would be distracted from it. Um, or it could be being called by any of my three kids too, all day long. And I've found that we have to find a way to peace in this noisy world of ours, especially with what we're doing, because to keep up, to deal with the same level of noise is incongruent to a fasted lifestyle. All the things people do. Yeah, I was marveling today at how somebody was showing off a picture from an event they did with, it was quite a good event because it was somebody who is speaking on constitutional law. But the one picture she chose to show of the event was of a food plate. That was what she chose. And it was so telling. This food plate, and it was dead animals, sliced dead animal muscle meat, and moldy cheese, like purple cheese. And I just thought, but it's so, why couldn't you show a picture of people learning?
Mm,
Oh,
interesting.
yeah. Um, so, here I did an event where kids were coming, everybody was coming together and eating. I found it to be very fruitful and fun, and um, less harming to this world to see everybody eating and partaking in fruit.
Yeah, it's colorful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Smells good.
Also, we're holding an event, so a game night for teens here tomorrow, and I've had people offer, can we bring drinks and chips and this thing and that thing? And it's so common for us. We don't even think of that. It's after 5 p.m. We're not going to start eating, let alone it's just, it's an event. We're focused on the activity versus bringing food in too. It's fascinating.
Yeah, most of the planet revolves around eating food, right?
It's
Yeah,
really
and
ingrained.
yeah. Have you guys heard of Curtis Stone?
No.
To stone.
Curtis Stone, he's a Canadian and he's in BC. And he's an urban farmer, and he used to do urban farming commercially, I guess you would say. But now he sells his books, and he does a stream, and he has his own homestead he's putting up in the mountains. But he said something today that I guess something I was listening to today, that the current, he was talking about which vegetables to grow so that you could be selling well to people. And he said that our obsession, it wasn't, he didn't use the word obsession, but our marketplace for food is a modern day phenomenon, because we are so much more food conscious or bigger food consumers than ever. Food driven. The restaurants, or you think of, I always think of how does a rundown town become lively? How do you reinvigorate an older, unused downtown or a main street area? And when you think of what goes in, it's always about food and food as entertainment. And I've wondered if there's a way to not have that be. Like, is there another way, what would entertain people and stuff, and instead of just that?
There's infinite things that can entertain people, but
Yeah.
we're in a narrow window of how we've been brought up. So, if you go to all around the planet and look at all the different cultures and many different ways that people are entertaining themselves. So, it's
It's a good point to look at what other people are doing too.
yeah, like in nature, there's infinite ways. Don't have to be eating.
I had an interesting interaction with somebody. I think it was yesterday. They were messaging me, telling me about, it was a friend. She's a little bit older. She was saying how she is going to organize a ladies' night out at a comedy club, and it's on her. She's going to take care of it, and then we could go to dinner first at an Indian restaurant and maybe some other stuff too. And I thought about it, and I realized I just would feel so not served by that. The comedy show didn't start till 9 p.m. at night, and I know what my mind likes to be doing after 9. And I know that I'm not gonna want to order anything from this restaurant. And I thanked her for her offer. And I told her that instead I would like to come over to her house and see her garden sometime. And likewise, she could come see mine and we could see each other in that way.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, and then she offered that I could, she said, you and your family can come over and pick Jamaican cherries from my tree on Sunday. So
Jamaican cherries.
yeah, it's the actual tree is called Muntingia, Muntingia, and it's known by several different names: strawberry tree, and I think Jamaican cherry, and it has these little cherry-like fruits that when you pop them open, they taste like cotton candy inside, because
Wow.
the seeds are like little sugar granules, they feel like cotton candy would have. And so yeah, it's such a special tree, and it grows pretty vigorously here as well. And she had the biggest, most productive one I'd ever seen so far, and yeah, I'm excited to go over and get a whole bunch.
How big are they? Like cherries?
Just a tad smaller. I would say about half the size of a cherry, if not smaller. So, and keep in mind, there's no pit. So it's all just that little sugary crystal kind of taste in the inside.
Never heard of them.
It's very cool. And I have one in my yard too, and it is fruiting. I've asked it not to because I had just put it in and I was having trouble getting established. So I ripped the little fruits off, but it insisted and grew more. So mine is a yellow one though. So the regular one is a red version. But I have a yellow one growing here. And I've got so many cool trees. I will have to make a good video. Oh yeah, we did just get a really good video camera. So maybe I could get that uploaded to Facebook or something. I have a rare green mulberry tree here now.
Mulberries, oh yeah.
Yeah, green mulberry, and I have Pakistani mulberry, which is a mulberry that's about 4 inches long.
Heard of
Oh,
that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yep. Now, and then I have a white mulberry too, but
Mm.
each of those two, they didn't fruit very much. So I'm gonna be experimenting with pruning them back to see if that'll help get them to fruit more.
Yeah,
And
pruning really helps, but feed the trees.
yep, feeding. Yeah, that's actually, if there's crimes against my art, I'm guilty of. It's of not fertilizing and feeding enough. So yeah, it is hard to keep up with everything.
Yeah,
But
work.
yeah, but right now, since we know that we're going to be moving on from the property, I'm not going to be installing anything, probably any new trees at this point. So I'm moving into a phase of beautification, and hopefully during this time I can feed everything a little bit more at the same time.
Just put all kinds of dead plant matter all around the
Yeah.
trunk and just keep adding on top there.
And charcoal.
Yeah. Charcoal, yeah.
It's a good fertilizer.
We've got 2 big compost bins going now. We do plant in a permaculture style as best as I can. And so we do a lot of chop and drop. So I have things growing that are mainly to be used as mulch. So once they grow big, I cut them down and I lay them down around the plant. So we got that. We got the mulch. Yeah, so I'm learning. It is quite the classroom. But I have to tell you, I have found that there's something I really value with it. Besides all the stuff I mentioned, and that is working alongside somebody else. And it's such a rewarding experience to have somebody next to you. My husband can help out occasionally. We sort of tag team with the kids. But when he does, it feels so good. And even I had somebody, I was paying a very nice homeschool dad. He does landscaping, and he came by to do some work for me last weekend, and I worked side by side with him. I felt really, really good. And I have another friend who has a plot next to me at the community garden, and we'll meet there and we work side by side with each other and give each other plants. And I have found that this feeling of being alongside somebody like that is so rewarding. I actually have it as a goal for the future, that on this property that we're getting, that I want to be able to enter into mutually beneficial relationships with people where they want to come work on our land, because it's a beautiful thing.
Nothing like playing with dirt.
Mm.
That wonderful connection with the earth.
And I think it's interesting how we can want to be around others, and sometimes there doesn't even need to be words spoken for the companionship to be meaningful. Um, and even on the way home today, as I was driving past some farms, there was a farm truck of some sort coming out of a gate. And behind the gate and the fence was a little pony, a little mini horse on his own. It looked like it was trying to follow the truck out. And I just thought, he's just lonely. He just wants somebody there too, just like I would. So anyways, I probably just have another 5 minutes left in me. Yeah. I drove about I think 3.5 hours today of driving, so it was a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of driving.
Oh yeah, it was more than that actually. Yeah. To and fro, but worth it.
So are you maintaining any of the levels?
I am I my intention is for level 5, but when I came off the last time, I went to level 3 weeks. I don't know what to call it. Level 2 weeks. I mean, like I said, and I really again taught myself some other meaningful lessons.
2 weeks of eating or 2 weeks of MFS?
Eating, and before that I had done 2 weeks of MFS. So but I I'm fasting until my company arrives, and then I will seek to joyously partake in the realm of eating, and then enter back into my fasting. So
Yeah, it's fasting lifestyles. We're constantly thinking about fasting.
yeah,
Even when we fall off.
the body knows.
You were speaking earlier about how much you can do while you're not eating. You can do way more.
Incredible.
You can do way more. It's for somebody coming off of a very obstructive lifestyle, and it may take a while before the body purges out, so the energy starts going up. But I'm talking once you've been living it for a while, the energy keeps going higher and higher and higher, and it actually gets scary to some people. It's because there's that program belief system running, and you're going and going and going for hours and hours, and the monkey mind starts coming into play. Well, you didn't eat nothing. How can you be having all this energy? All kinds of stupid things go through your head.
Yeah, and for me, it's the what maybe you go through. Well, I mean, I think now, oh, I'll go think, I guess, that I want to eat, not that I need to, but I want to. But I know now that that's just going to slow me down. And if I don't want to slow down, then I don't want to be eating.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see too what you see in other people around you and how they're reacting to the heat around me, especially where somebody was saying that they hibernate all summer long. And I just, I looked at her and I could see why in her physicality, why she would feel that way.
Hibernate in the summer?
Yeah, because it's too hot, so she would go.
Okay.
Yeah. And, I mean, even for me, I experience it too when I'm eating or I haven't been fasting as planned, let's say. So, yeah, I feel not as interested in being in the heat.
Yeah, when you're eating, especially if you're going into cooked foods, the heat is not fun.
No.
And when you're in a fasting state, it doesn't bother you at all.
Right.
So, it's we can choose the level of obstructiveness you want to live.
Yeah.
It always goes back to that.
My neighbor was saying to me, she said, Lisa, how did you get so much done? I said, I've been fasting.
What?
Take it away. Yeah.
It's yeah, average person cannot comprehend that.
You know, I have another experience to share with you before I go. Um, so in my group, I have met some great people, and one person I met, um, she uh she started a food charity where she would get food that was being donated, well, that was expired or expiring from supermarkets. And I don't know how this is legal here still, because I know in some places it's not even legal to do it. But she started a charity, and so out of the front driveway of her home, she has tables, and she posts on Facebook when there's food available and people come pick up food. And it's everything from prepared foods to produce to baked goods. And I was able to coordinate with her and get some fresh goods to my homeschool group. And it was nice to do that. Some green beans and some bread. And then she asked if I wanted, I said I had some more people I'd like to help out. She offered that I could do the actual pickup that she would normally be doing. And so I did that. My husband went out and he was collecting it. This is interesting too, not even from a supermarket, but from a charity that had already, a food bank that had already received the stuff. But there was so much of it, they can't use it. And this is typical that she receives this stuff. And so it came home to my house, and I feel very I feel very responsible to make sure things that are useful go to people who can use them. And all this stuff came into my house, bags of frozen meat, plastic packages of meals. I think there were 75 plastic packaged meat filled, prepared meals from some diet nutrition group or something that are being sold. Baked goods from Whole Foods, all just thrown into a box, just donuts and muffins and pastries, and then there was some produce. Actually, there was 2 huge boxes of organic bananas. That was awesome. um, then there was some other compostable produce. But it was really, overall, it was a really hectic experience for me because I was really upset to see so many dead bodies in my home. We actually keep a pretty strictly vegan home, and there was bags of chicken, and then all these meals, and then the amount of plastic was crazy. I was intent on getting it all given out, and I did. By the end of the day, it was all gone from my home. But it was I don't even know really where I stand with it in the end as of right now. But um it's really something because I hear about all the food shortages that are happening or coming. And yet I've seen for months now through this woman, through her organization, and now in my own home, how much so-called food isn't even being used. And people don't even want it. So it's wild. And then I was told about another food pickup, but I couldn't get there in time. And all this stuff just got trashed outside. Produce. So
Oh, see, so much. The food that gets thrown away
yeah.
around the world can feed the planet 10 times over.
Yeah. So I stopped wondering about why certain things are happening in this world. Like I feel there's a price we're paying for karma, like, of living this way. Living in Yeah, living without harmony with our mother.
There's lessons for all of us.
Yeah. On a separate note, my head just wandered. I got to see olives growing on the tree here at the community garden. It's really neat. Oh, and the funny thing is that there's these two olive trees, and the story has it that a year ago, um, right before things, okay, they were shutting down, and there was an Italian in the area visiting, and he came by and he saw the olive trees and he offered to prune them because he couldn't get back to Italy right then. So he pruned the trees and now they're fruiting for the first time.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, fruit trees need to be pruned.
Yes.
Take off all the dead stuff, and if there's any disease stuff. And
Yeah.
good time is in the fall, autumn.
Yeah. It's very fascinating because I've watched people not prune their trees, and yeah, you could see they're not fruiting or
Yeah,
they're not thriving, I should say.
yeah. Some people do it in the spring. Some people do it in the fall. I don't know which is better, but
I wanted to share my over half a century of Buddhist study, Buddhist practice. The idea you're talking about karma, and we're just saying we're just trying to learn how to communicate with each other. How to do the math, how to organize. We're pretty new on the planet as far as when life came on. And, this is our challenge, rather than look at, oh, we're being punished for, you know, um, being bad. It's like, let's keep working on learning how to see another person and go, how can I help that person like relax and feel good about themselves and have more hope for the future? That song Nature Boy, the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just how to love and how to let yourself be loved in return. That's what we're working on. And yeah, karma is just, here's the causes we made and here's where we are today. And, how can we take it to a higher level, a more beautiful, more loving level. And yeah. That's where we're at, and we're seeing like communication and changing the way we feel about communication with each other is a big challenge. It took over a year for me to ever be able to speak on this Zoom call. I still worry about, not being accepted or saying something wrong, but yeah, we need to talk because I think we're pioneers.
yeah, it's difficult for people sharing their stories. Some people, and it's one of the ways to unlock stagnation to keep energy flowing. So we don't have to worry about whatever anybody thinks is not our problem. It's their problem. So just do what you got to do and enjoy. It's I've so many messages from people, about how the Zoom calls have helped them and so on and so forth. So you never know who one couple of words, a sentence that somebody says is going to help somebody.
I'm really
that's
seeing
very
how just like a little bit of love, just really strengthens us and takes us a long way. And the importance of telling people, here's a safe place to express strong feelings. We should be able to do that for our children.
Yeah, this is a very challenging time in history of bringing up children now
Mhm.
with all the information available, internet and so on and so forth. And it's a very challenging time. Well, a big majority of people don't even raise their children, right? They let the
No.
TV, the computer, the school system do it for them.
Yes, it's crazy. I try, one of the drop in the bucket that I'm trying to accomplish is to provide a place that parents can bring their children to so that they're nourished emotionally and with fun activities instead of being stuck in the school somewhere.
Mhm.
Or even like it's still I have homeschool parents that barely even come out because they are too busy doing quote unquote school at home instead of getting their children out into nature and playing and physical and enjoying themselves like little monkeys like they should be.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a great idea for children to be out and playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to go because I had a long day with being on the road, but
Awesome.
I would just want to say good night to everybody and um plasma love to all of you.
Thank you for updating
Mhm.
us.
Of course. Of
Stay
course. You're
focused.
welcome.
Get that land happening.
Mhm.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Awesome. Bye, Lisa.
Bye bye.
Yeah. So Barbara, what have you been up to?
Oh my gosh, my daughter so many years ago was told that she had that virus that they were worried that uh, they were saying that young women were getting in their uterus, right? That could turn into cancer. So doctors were going in and either, scraping and burning or freezing um, the wall of the uterus. And now my daughter is 6 months pregnant, and she was told that her cervix was too thin and that she was not allowed to lift anything more than 5 pounds, and she's supposed to be on bed rest for
Uh,
the rest of her pregnancy, or she would lose the baby. And she has a 19-month-old who's very active. So I went to Tennessee. So I'm in Nashville, Tennessee right now, so that I could help her. Um,
what's the age of your daughter?
she's 30, coming 39.
Okay. How's her diet?
She's been a vegetarian since she was 7. She was like 7 years old. She was so enlightened then. And she said she would never, because of her greed or her ability to overpower something, she would never hurt another living being um, like that. And she just became a strong vegetarian since she was 7 years old, her choice. I mean, she was doing that on and off with me for, before then, but yeah.
Does she do dairy? Vegetarian? Some vegetarians do dairy.
So yeah, sometimes she does.
Yeah.
Sometimes she'll do pizza.
Well, there's lots of things that she can do to help herself. Um, it's and when starting things on pregnancy, you got to be easy, doing things gradually. You don't want to be too shocking on anything, because if you are aggressive in purging, the body might purge the fetus, the baby,
Yeah.
because just is it's just not strong enough to deal with that, so it'll purge it. So that's the challenge
Mhm.
sometimes, and you got to be careful. The body will always do everything it can to keep itself alive,
Mhm.
but it's our responsibility to keep it healthy. So no matter what we throw at it, it's going to try and do whatever it has to do to keep itself alive, right? It doesn't mean it's going to be healthy. That's our job, and we have to put time and effort in keeping ourselves healthy every single day. It's not going to happen by inventing things here and there. We got to put time and energy every single day. How little or how much, it's up to you. But a good window is, 1 to 3 hours a day spend on yourself.
Mhm.
One would be an absolute minimum. And, keep working on that. Yeah, it's listening to the White Jackets, people will tend to believe everything they say, and they are not God, so they don't know. They're just making up stuff from what they've learned in their schooling and their programs. You know how many people were given a death sentence and they didn't die.
Mhm.
They didn't follow their orders. The ones who follow the orders, they end up dying because they've done it so many times, so they know the time frame, how long it takes to kill somebody. It's a bit harsh words to use, but that's exactly what's happening.
Mhm.
They do this and that treatment, and that's how long the person, perishes. He's gone after so much time.
Mhm. And that's the joke the doctor tells this man, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but you have 6 months to live. And I need to give you your bill for, and the guy says, I could never pay you this in 6 months. And the doctor goes, okay, so I'll give you another 6 months.
Unbelievable. We gotta laugh.
And stuff like that.
Gotta laugh.
Yeah, laughing's good medicine.
Yeah, we don't laugh enough. Children laugh hundreds of times a day, some children. I don't know about these days, but playing outside, I remember, playing as kids, we're laughing all the time. It's nonstop. You're just having fun. Never let that child go. Keep it always within.
Yeah, so it's never too late and better late than ever. And that includes having a happy childhood.
Yeah. Children today, they don't play outside much. They're on the freaking computers. My children, they were brought up, they were mostly on their computers. They did get out a little bit, but not nowhere near what
You did.
the times when we grew up. We were always outside.
Walking around the wilderness and finding berries growing, finding pollywogs,
Pollywog?
pollywogs, tadpoles.
Oh,
Mhm.
right. That's it.
Yeah, how to give that back to our kids. So in the looming that I'm doing, there's a number of women who've now have land with the idea of creating community. And here it goes back to the dialogue and us trusting each other, to come together and build homes on the land, see what we need to do to make it so people can feel safe to be there. I so appreciated Ina Gaskin, who wrote Spiritual Midwifery and Birth Matters, because she told people, okay, if you're pregnant and you feel like you're not strong enough to be able to take care of a baby, our community is that strong, and you can come here and we will not separate you from being that child's parent. And I just thought that was one of the most loving, courageous things that I heard anyone say, in this life. So, and her place is somewhere in Tennessee, and my dream to create a documentary so that we can show young people um, that there's reason to look forward to the future. There's some really good things. There's some really good people. There's some good ideas. There's some nice things that are happening, and and show them this, because they turn on the TV, watch the news, they're not seeing that. So she's Ina Gaskin, someone I would love, to be interviewing sometime in the next few months and see, how far she's come. And what I saw as being a hitchhiking hippie was that when you came to communities, like, people have great ideas and they were gung-ho, and they would build and they would create something, and then they kind of hit a plateau where they kind of not growing so much anymore, not having that same spirit. But when you have new people coming by to say, who are you, what are you doing, it kind of feeds energy into the best ideas so that they can continue to grow, and you can have an exchange of energy, new people coming. um, so yeah, see, the idea that the 60s generation, that we make love, not war, suppose they gave a war and nobody showed up for it, those kind of ideas, that we're getting our second wind now. We've been through a lot, we've learned a lot, we've experienced a lot. Now we're getting our second wind. Oh, that's the idea. And, getting past this pandemic so people can come together again, like with the rainbow gatherings. The Hopi Indians said, in the future, when Mother Earth's going to be sad because her plants and her animals will be suffering, don't worry, there's going to come a great tribe. Many nations, many colors are going to come together, for the healing of this planet. And that rainbow gathering, is going to happen. So the 4th of July, there's always there's always been a national rainbow gathering in a different national forest in the United States. And then on Valentine's Day, there's a regional in different parts. Like for me in South Florida, it's in the Ocala forest. And then they say there's an international on the first of the year here, January 1st. That happens in a different country. But this last year it wasn't happening because of the fear of the pandemic. So we'll see when that happens again. But when it first started happening, I've seen a lot of things like this. It was only the very, the people who are wealthy and, getting to go to the best schools and very protected their whole lives, coming together and saying, oh, we're going to heal each other. We're going to educate each other. So people climbing these mountains with massage tables and chiropractic equipment and musical instruments, and the ecologists and the botanists. I love being with them, taking you for a walk where you go to the top of the mountain and you see what there is to consume and all the different things that nature has to give. And then you go where there's the valley, and where there's the meadow and where there's the water source. And at the end of the day, after learning so much, you have this we had like this big garbage can thing full of but it wasn't like a garbage can, because it was like clean on the inside, full of all this produce. And then someone made some kind of a dressing, and it's like, all right, now we're gonna have a big feast. And I remember my daughter Sarah going, you grown-ups are weird. But it was so much fun. And you had people coming, this guy, he was Indian, and he was like 3rd generation yogi. You had a yoga village, you have a kiddie village, a sister village, and all free food. And so much of that food was coming from dumpster divers, but people who actually talk to, like, the Whole Foods people, to organize when you have to throw this food away because it's past its date, like, let us have it, for the gathering to feed people. And you know, there was such intelligence there. And then one time I go to a gathering and someone's cooking meat and I'm saying, what are you doing? And they said, well, this has to be for everybody. This can't just be, you know, we've got to open the doors to the people that are homeless, you know, the young people that don't have any place to go. And after that happening, it's the first time you had violence that happened at a rainbow gathering, you know, and scared away a lot of people. But there's people that remember when it was just all about, you know, welcome home, brother, welcome home, sister, you know, we're going to heal each other and feed each other and share what we know. And Kitty Village was so fun because people took fishing net and put them all over the trees so that kids could climb trees, but you didn't have to worry about them falling, because if they'd fall, they would fall into a net, you know, and someone was going, oh, that's the internet I've heard about, you know, because the kids were like playing. And trampolines where you dig a hole in the dirt. So the trampoline, if they'd fall off, they were right there ground level. You know, and someone would bring a horse so the kids could see what it felt like to ride a horse. And we were making wonderful treats. I don't know what you think about this, but my son thought it was great with peanut butter. And you put something like a date in the middle of it.
Oh, fat and sweets are lethal. It
Mhm.
tastes great.
Yeah, and the children could make them themselves. And we thought that was fun.
One thing that we should really avoid is mixing fat and sugar.
Mhm.
Very hard on their system.
Uh-huh.
Keeps the sugar in the bloodstream much longer, and that's where you get fermentation and all kinds of problems happen.
Mhm.
It was not a good idea. You know, fats are a big problem, but if you're gonna eat any fat, you know, eat them with some greens.
Mhm.
Before I forget, for your daughter, she may want to look into red raspberry leaf.
Mhm.
That's very good for the uterus.
Mhm.
And there's many other herbs she can look into, see if she's comfortable with taking them. My ex-wife, when she was pregnant, she drank red raspberry leaf all through the pregnancy.
Mhm.
There's the female reproductive formulas, but red raspberry leaf, make a tea, drink away.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
So there's many herbs she can use and help. I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't trust in the White Jackets opinions.
Mhm.
I would do things to help myself and the baby in
Mhm.
that direction, and focus on where you want to go. You know, staying in bed, that's not a good intent.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
that's fear, right? Just take it easy, but I would keep moving. I wouldn't stay in. I wouldn't be bedridden myself. Anyway, she's
Mhm.
gonna have to make up her mind. Just throwing that out there. The red raspberry.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And she's not like staying in bed, but staying places, you know. It's kind of fun treating her like, you know, a princess a little bit, like, oh, don't carry anything heavy, because she's so used to like running around and being all responsible and throwing, you know, her 19-month-old, she's kind of a big 19-month-old, like on her hips. And we're trying to talk today about why breastfed babies, like, you know, they'll be large, kids that are just nursing. And I wonder, yeah, if you can know anything about that or can say anything about that.
The breast. Sorry, say that again. Breastfed babies are large.
Yeah, they'll tend to be like, you know, that's a good sized baby, right?
Well, breast milk is the best. It's liquid light.
Mhm.
There's nothing better than that. You know, even if the mother's eating poorly, the body's going to use all the best materials to make the milk that's available. So, you know, the better the mother takes care of herself, the better the quality of milk. So that's, you know, we've seen, people that were living a fruitarian lifestyle, had wonderful, beautiful babies, no mucus, no problems, no sickness, no nothing. So it all depends on the level of obstructiveness. It's really that simple. Yeah. There's also the other end where all the growth hormones and everything that are put into the meats produce big babies, right? That's done through stimulation. And these babies are often with all kinds of ailments and sicknesses, colic and all sorts of problems they start having, lots of skin rashes and stuff
Yeah.
from all the chemicals. So it's always about choice, but yeah, she can do, she really, she can go on hybrid, mass fast hybrid.
Yeah, one of my prayers is that, I can bring like young people together and young moms and all and know how to nurture everybody, and make them feel, at home and loved and nurtured. My kids and I, we try to think of ways to get together, like for birthdays and holidays, that's not all about food. So we've been looking at things like boating, finding different things that we can do, painting. It's fun. Hmm.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Tatiana, how have you been doing?
Yeah.
Are you there? Hello?
Hmm. We're kind of praying that on the 15th, my daughter is supposed to go back and have a checkup and talk to a doctor that's going to say if her cervix hasn't thickened up, then they'll want to sew the cervix together so that the baby won't fall out, which is not the way we want to go at all.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be going that route myself, but
Mhm.
everybody's got to make their own choices.
Mhm.
There's lots of things she can do. Lots of things. Surgery is very invasive. Yeah, people they get into fear states and they do things that they normally wouldn't. Look at what's happened around the world. So
Mhm.
it's all based on fear.
So what we're saying with the looms, we're saying that our economic structure around the world's been based on like fear and punishment. So now we're trying to turn that around so it becomes the sharing is caring, and we create like a gifting economy, and we're creating time banks instead of money banks. You're familiar with that concept where like if there's something I can do to help you, like right now Laura needs someone to run after her baby and carry him and all that. She's not supposed to be picking him up all the time for the one that she's carrying inside. So if somebody comes and helps with that, then they can put the time that they've given to help another person in the time bank, and then they say like what they're looking for, what they're trying to complete, what needs they have. And it's beautiful to hear people talking about how well that concept has worked for them.
This is what family units were about.
Mhm.
And in these modern societies have been torn apart. Families, people don't it's rare for people to eat together anymore as a family. Those days are long gone. Dinner time was the time where everybody exchanged their ideas and stuff and
Mhm.
built the strength of the family. Fun times.
I think it's amazing that Thomas Edison and Ford and who their wives were, they would get together and they would square dance, like these two couples as ways to entertain themselves and each other. I mean, just that's that's so amazing that they could do that, that they could have that kind of friendship.
Yeah. Awesome. Anyway, anybody else, or we can call it a night?
And how are you feeling? I'm seeing movies, they just had the International Film Festival, and I was seeing so many movies coming. I've seen movies where Arab and Israeli were getting together to try to show the rest of the world like problems that were needing to be resolved. And then I've seen movies where people are just trying to express like pain and things that are happening that are so wrong. With the idea that if we can become all more conscious about what's happening, that's part of the solution.
What are you talking about? Sorry, I missed the beginning.
They had that. They have that every year, the International Film Festival,
Mm-hmm.
and every year I've seen so many things. I mean, I'm hearing terrible things that that Rana's been talking about just like last week. That are just really painful to hear. People being really mean to other people and being mean to children. And how much of that is happening in the Middle East. And but in so many places, right? I mean, my mom died going like, what goes wrong? How does someone get to a state where they're willing to hurt another human being?
Yeah, it's like
And
diabolical. Like and this day and age, like, there shouldn't be any more wars. It's
yeah,
absolutely ludicrous. It's just like, where are we going? Like, humanity needs to wake up in that divine light and stop doing this nonsense. All the people with the guns just say, nope, no more. It's over. It's that simple. It's really that simple. But how do we get that to happen? Well, we're going to have to work with the fields, because the information in this realm, you can put it in people's faces and you got almost 8 billion different opinions. You ain't going to win that way. We've been doing this for how long, and it's still going on. So
yeah,
it ain't working. So we need to do something different. And that's where we go into the fields and change it that way, so we can manifest the correct conduct into the matter state. Because I don't know, it's just this war thing, man. I can't support anything to do with war. I signed a contract with my soul, and I'm done with anything to do with any warmongers. Never support any of that stuff.
and there's still such a fascination with fighting, with people boxing and all right now that I'm seeing.
Yeah, and all the blood sports, they're coming back.
Yeah, I'm seeing more than ever. So
they used to do in the Roman times, killing each other and the animals and stuff. People love to see blood sports. This is the diabolic Luciferic agenda.
Mhm.
It's put out there, and this is what's controlling humanity. It's all diabolism, if there's such a word. It's geared towards that agenda. That the opposite of correct conduct is what's supposed to be right. And that's the norm now.
But I think it's trying to like understand, like there's a good movie that came out, and I think this came out from the International Film Festival. It was called The Reader, and it was a true story. And it was about this boy in Germany, and it's after World War II, and he has some illness, and he's walking home, and he gets really sick, and he's throwing up, and this woman comes and brings him into her home, and she's cleaning him up. He's like a teenager, and she's being really kind, and she's saying that what she wants more than anything in the world is to learn how to read, and if he would teach her how to read. And so he's trying to teach her, and they end up becoming lovers. um, and then he finds out that the Nuremberg trials were happening, and that she was considered like one of the worst of the worst of the Nazis, because she was the woman that had all these people that were locked in a church building, and it was set on fire.
Oh boy.
I don't know if you heard this, but she had the key, but she wouldn't open the door. She wouldn't let the people out. And him trying to understand how could she be that person and be the person that was so kind to him when he was sick, and is so wanting to read. She goes to jail, and he's still, they have, they're communicating back and forth, and she's learning how to read. He's teaching her. It's kind of, how it ends. And I think we can like learn a lot by seeing the real movies, the realities of what people were going through and why, and her fear of that she couldn't like lose order. She had to keep things ordered and organized, and go by the rules, and just had such a fear of that. And I see that with my daughter Laura, even trying to hold on to like what doctors are saying. There's just such a need to feel like there's a sense of order. And I think that's something that people need to look at. And then I know I was at the Kenny Norton fight in Vegas, and it was amazing. The energy, that was in that room felt right. Felt like people should have access to all the energy you could feel that was coming from this fight. But then I was the person afterwards, carrying this guy out in a stretcher, and I'm trying to tell him about chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and I'm trying to tell him, there's a lot of people out here that they don't want you getting hurt, and they don't want you hurting anyone else, because in the room at that time, people are screaming things like kill the bum, and right, and it doesn't sound, the people in the ring, it doesn't sound like there's anyone out there that doesn't want people hurting people. So yeah, trying to talk, but being impressed with the amount of energy that was being released. And it's kind of I was just told that a lot of back pain has to do with people suppressing a lot of feeling. We're still like really scared to talk to each other, and or deal with serious things, so it ends up being back pain. But by this guy was saying, even by playing at martial arts, you can release some of those feelings, and back pain goes away. So I think these kind of, not just this kind of dialogue, but then like I have friends who have a retreat in Jamaica, and we're saying sometime in the near future, we'll get like a whole bunch of us to go and play, and just be healthy and just enjoy nature, and try to learn and document what we're learning, making sense out of what we're learning, towards creating a brighter future that young people can feel proud to be part of, can look forward to. And takes courage even to talk like this, right? Because like, well, who are we? You know, who am I, and how are we really going to do anything in time if we haven't done it up till now? You know, but
Well, everything that's happening is supposed to happen or wouldn't happen. So there's all lessons to be learned from everything going on around the globe, or flat Earth for flat earthers. And we, the biggest thing that I see is humanity in general doesn't learn from their past. We do things over and over and over again.
Mhm.
And when, now's the time to shift out of that cycle and
Mhm.
go towards the divine light and bring that in, because we can't keep going the way we were going. It's not sustainable.
And I know in Naisnan, she believes if there's just two people communicating and they're understanding each other, that kind of goes around the world, you know, like that 100th monkey thing, that
Yeah.
there's value to, if we, well, it's just us talking, you know, but that there's greater value than we realize in this effort, you know, that you guys are putting together every Friday night and every Wednesday, that you know, that's important and beautiful, and we should see the actual proof of what we're doing, you know.
Yeah, a lot of beautiful things come out. So we continue to do them,
Mhm.
and it's wonderful. But it's I don't know. If people put the time and energy into their um, health, lifestyle, peace, balance, correct conduct that they did in their
Mhm.
finances, the world would turn over instantaneously.
Mhm.
All the focus is, mostly on money, 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 money. Um, it's interesting. It's interesting. The percentage of people that put time and energy in their health is very small still. Very
Mhm.
small. As long as people, are not getting sick, they don't think about their health. It was slowly degrading over the years, and they start going to doctors, start taking drugs,
Mhm.
and before you know it, they're in that trap, deep in that trap of that massive imbalance. So we can anybody can turn it around no matter what state. But the further down the road, the more work it's going to be and more challenging. But it's we've seen everything that's possible. It's just beautiful.
Mhm.
We just keep chugging along, and keep sending out that plaque at 4:32 a.m. p.m. Make your deposit. So
Mhm.
what we were talking about, making a deposit into that into the realm of the ether. The ether, it's not a material bank. It's a bank in the ether where we make deposits for whoever needs it. Of plasma love always flowing. That energy will nourish anybody who needs it. If anybody needs to draw on it, you can draw on it. It's just continue filling up that bank. Let's continue making those deposits. Costs you 9 seconds a day. Big deal.
Mhm. That's interesting you're saying 432, because my youngest daughter, that's, you know, she says she keeps seeing that number again and again, that's her number for some reason that she hasn't understood. So someone said if you meet someone and you can't understand what they're saying, then be happy, because it means you can learn a lot from that person. And if you can grab something of what they're saying that doesn't make sense, but you put it in your back pocket, and then as you keep going in life, then you'll come places and you go, oh, that's where that piece goes, to this
Yeah.
puzzle that we're trying to figure out.
Yeah, that's happened.
Mm.
So you're in Tennessee right now?
Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, the country music capital of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's warm there?
Yeah, it was really nice today. It was rainy, but then it became really nice when we were outside and playing in water. We were lucky. But we got a low battery.
All right, let's call it a night. Getting up to the 2-hour mark. We'll let's elevate all the souls on the planet to peace, balance, correct conduct, so that humanity will move in that direction. War is obsolete. War is done. We're in the realm of knowledge and light, divine light, and that's where we put our focus. We are the change we want to see by moving in that direction continuously. And let's elevate the soul of Mother Earth, who has been nourishing humanity for thousands and thousands of years without asking for anything in return. And let's elevate the soul of the sun, which gives light and shines on this planet and on every soul. And all the stars and the galaxies and other planets and other universes, that everything works perfectly in sync, because there is divine order in everything that's created, from the grain of sand to the largest mountain to the largest planets. And thank you, everybody, for joining. And we'll see you again. Thank you, Barbara, for sharing.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Love you guys. Be well.
Yeah,
Be happy and healthy.
the only way to be. Bye. Thank you. Bye, Tatiana.